Hey guys, it's Narrator here again, back with another drawing, I guess. This time I wanted to show you guys how I did this process of how I made each of my two of my Genderswap characters, Seraphira and Xaphonique. So here first I drew Seraphira just after midnight. I think it was just after midnight. Sorry. Day was going good. The weather's just clear, and I'm just here, just talking to you guys. And also, I'm very sorry that I couldn't post anything since I was very busy with school, with I don't know, just family meeting or something. And also to celebrate my cousin's birthday. So yeah, I think that was why I was not posting anything, since I had to do other work or business. But I'm alright. Don't worry about me. So here I drew Seraphira first, later in the morning of this morning. So I drew her hair, like some sort of like a fiery or floating hair something. And I drew her eye first before I could even put in the color, just to make sure I do not make a mistake there. Yeah, and I also had to keep in mind for myself that I had to showcase the family, and which I hadn't. And I'm very sorry that I couldn't do it. But maybe I could either this today or maybe the following day, or maybe during the summer, since school is almost about to be over. And I'm just here as almost to graduate. I know it could probably think that I'm gonna be a senior next school year. And yeah, I guess that's why I probably might just suck at everything when I'm growing up. But I should be fine. Don't worry about me. So I colored in her hair with a golden yellow type of pen, yeah. So I'm pretty sure that you guys saw the sneak peek of what I showed since yesterday. Yes, yesterday, just before just during midnight. I think that's what it is. And yeah, my family is there watching Shrek, the very first movie. And I don't know what other things I'm gonna talk about other than the drawings and other stuff. And if you haven't seen Seraphira slash Xaphonique lore, then I would probably suggest you could understand what I wrote down, and maybe you could understand what how she was a fallen angel, and words that she was an angel, and now she is the goddess devil. I'll make sure I'll put in the link into it. So yeah, I kind of finished her hair. I finished her hair. Now I'm gonna move in with the clothing, her body, her scarf, and then the eyes. Well, her eyes or her servants much more better. So keep you guys and if you want to watch this video of the process, then you're welcome to. If not, then that's fine with me. So enjoy in the meantime. So there you have it. The full complete process of how I drew Seraphia, the angel of goodness. I'll do probably the next the angels, and then I'll just have to rest by the next day. So stay tuned. So just after I drew Seraphia, then it's on to with the alluring or kind of lustful, if I assume if that's correct on her lore, Xaphonique, the angel, the true goddess of who cannot be named. So I knew it. I knew that Xaphonique is probably the most hardest than Seraphia because of like how many colors it needs, and now since now you some of you might be wondering if am I gonna do a full color of the next comic. I mean, some comics might is white and black, just pen and pencil, or just full colors. And I mean, the reason why I do and pen or pencil is because it takes less time than just to coloring the full comic from a meme. So yeah, that's probably the reason why it's more quicker than just to color the whole thing. And yeah, nothing else. So I'm beginning to draw Xaphonique here, just like, I don't know, like trying to give you a hug, just like her past self. And hope you guys enjoyed it. And also during the Xaphonique drawing, it's probably like it takes more time since today on the Sunday morning, it's just almost seems so busy for me. But I could deal with it and just get it over, and then just continue to finish the drawing for me to show you guys. So if you like, we could continue to watch me how I drew up Xaphonique, or if not, then you're always welcome to leave. So enjoy. But now here is almost finished. I just need to add the last details of Xaphonique, and then I added the hearts just to show you like how that she claims to be like a seductive goddess. And I did it as well for Seraphira, but not that seductive. I signed it I put in my signature in there, the date, and the time as well. I also did it for Seraphira as well, just to remind myself of the time when it was finished. So yeah, there you have Xaphonique, and now I'm gonna have to move on with Seraphira with the hearts on it as well. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Like, you see how we did this process. It took like about maybe around 1 to 2 hours to finish. I don't know. It's somewhere like that. Like 1 to 2 hours that both of them were done. So here's the full hearts of Seraphira. And now once it's done, then we could showcase it. And there you have it, Seraphira and Xaphonique. Comment below which one is your favorite, and who do you want to hug with, and why. And yeah, I'll post in more stuff for my channel, so then it doesn't get terminated. So wish me luck, and oh yeah, and the War of the Internal Crucible timeline is all done, and then I'm gonna have to move in with the bonus season. So the narrator is out.
A new guest to join with me. Please pardon me. I know I don't have a lot of time to talk with you. But please, can we be friends? Just this once?